All right, yo, welcome to the Legacy Vault Insider Podcast, where we keep things real and we talk everything insurance. I'm the host, Shedrick Cooper, owner and CEO of Final Touch Legacy Group. And today I got a special guest, Griffin. Griffin, if you don't mind introducing yourself, tell the people a little bit about yourself, brother.
I appreciate it. Yeah, my name's Griffin. I'm from Oklahoma. Lived there for most of my life. About 10 years ago, I moved here to Miami, Florida. I've just been pretty much selling over the phone for the last 10 years. Ever since I landed here, I got my first like over the phone sales job working for Grant Cardone. I did that for about a year. And then that was back when he only had 67 employees and hardly anybody knew who he was. It was really hard, a lot of cold calls. I mean, it was actually 99% cold calls. And then just kind of ended up in insurance about 7 years ago, working with a guy that we both know probably, Justin Von Migen, who worked at Senior Life Services. And we worked there together. I worked with Justin when it was just insurance final expense. And then he merged with SLS. He was there for like 5 years. And then he started his own insurance course, and I think that most people I know are using it nowadays called Just Insurance. It's really easy to. It's a great course. And so I worked with him. I was his right hand guy, one of his salespeople. He actually, I wouldn't say I was his right hand guy the whole time because I was one of the top producers. I was the top producer on his team for years. But he had other people that I had trained who became like top builders.
Mhm.
And so I ended up kind of going out independently because I wanted to be able to do like Medicare and final expense, eventually do annuities, be able to do IULs. The company that we were at, I have a ton of respect for them. They're a good company. They just only do final expense only, and
Yeah,
they own your book of business. So I'm like, okay, I kind of want to, create my own way of being able to expand in other insurance products specifically. So luckily, it worked out really well because I figured out the Medicare game a little bit in 2023, 2024.
Mhm.
And then David went to do his own thing, and I'd been connected to David for forever. And then ended up coming in, I think about 8 months after you guys started the price group together in terms of like everyone that originally was there. So I'm happy to be here, man. I've definitely been a big follower of you and what you've been doing in terms of your effort and activity and your sales. You can't fake the level of success that you're having, and I know that you're doing well and you're closing deals, and you're very transparent. So for anybody who's out there that could listen or study or follow what you're doing, whenever you're a real agent or a real salesperson, you know when you're talking to someone else who is also that same thing.
100%.
So there we go. That's I think why we ended up here.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Yeah.
100%. And that's crazy, dude. Because you kind of popped up out of nowhere, man, and you be dropping like I'd be like, man, what Griffin at? And then you'll drop five, six, seven, eight sales. You very to yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I kind of want to touch on, you said you got in telesales 10 years ago, and that's crazy because most of the people I know they started off in the field and they had to make their transition to over the phone. So, like, kind of tell me, like what was the advantages starting, with Grant Cardone, working with him for a year, and then, transitioning into life insurance. Like, how did that help you?
Yeah. Man, they didn't want to hire me when I started. I mean, it was actually they said they were getting like 500 applications a day. And I slipped in there and I had moved to Miami and then I had to do my third interview with them. The third one's in person. Some people will fly in to do it. Most of the time they'll fly in. I think they make you come in person.
Yeah.
So I moved, and I told myself like if I don't get the job, I'll be fine. I'll get another one. I'm not
Yeah.
worried. I'm a salesperson. I'll find something. And then if they are like, but I was in the third round, and the person that still runs the company, her name is Sherry Hamilton. She said, and I have a lot of respect for these people. She said, so have a safe flight home. And I was like, oh, I mean, not to sound, weird or anything, but I live here now, so I'm just gonna head home. She's like, oh, she kind of gave like a face that was like, oh, that's weird. You moved here? I was like, listen, let me be clear. I would love to work here, but I want him to move anyway.
Mhm.
So, this was a perfect opportunity to do it. If I don't get the job, that's okay with me. I'll find another one.
Mhm.
But I, you know, if I do get hired, that would be awesome. I'd love to work here. I think I could be a great asset to the team. So I wasn't desperate. And I think that that was also picked up because they have had some weirdos that wanted to work there. A lot of like just people that you wouldn't want to hire that are like they'll come knock on the door and like I want to talk to Grant, like weird stuff like that. Um, so I never did anything like that. But anyway, I had never sold over the phone, and that's why Jared Glant, their president of sales, did not want to hire me because he's like, you don't have any phone experience. I was like, yeah, but I've sold face to face for years. He's like, yeah, but it's a lot harder, it's a lot different, and they're not like you. They don't want to make themselves better. They don't want to buy sales training. They don't want to invest in themselves. And I did not understand what he meant at the time because I could not imagine that somebody would not want to do those things.
Mhm.
So, dude, selling over the phone, honestly, you just have to be able to be quick. And it's like being at the front door of a home because you sold face to face, right?
Never. Strictly telesales.
Okay, then you're like me. So
Yeah.
you had to learn when you started to get quick and you got to be able to keep them from hanging up. So there are times where we call them jump 50-50 balls, right? Where you could have got it or you might not have got it, but
Mhm.
if you didn't try, you definitely weren't going to get it. So
Exactly.
you got to go for the ball. So like if you don't try and work that muscle will get weak. So one of my old coworkers, he actually made a shirt and he made his own company and he was like, "Don't get weak." Because you got to keep working that phone muscle because everybody can go to the gym for 5 hours a day, but they may not be able to do what we're doing over the phone.
Exactly.
So to the transition, man, just like going from face to face though for years to over the phone, you have to become like a Jedi and be able to like perceive and hear and know what's going on. And you got to really be listening and you have to be ready to sometimes you have to almost interrupt people at appropriate moments to keep
Yep.
from getting hung up on or to keep them from talking themselves down. So those are some things that was a very long answer to your question, but it is something that you really have to practice, train, and if you don't do those things, I feel like you just will take a really long time or you'll fail.
Yep. 100%.
So the training part will just make you more successful faster. Like even if you're just verbally saying it to people like that, like your mom, call your mom and try to picture a policy. Like,
It's crazy.
mom, listen to this. Like,
It's crazy you say that, dude, because I'm gonna be honest. So my situation was a little different. So I've only done telesales, but for me, the company I was with, we did live transfers, like TV leads, right? So it was I never really had to like you don't have to get in the door because they're out on the phone. Right. But
right,
still, though, I love how you said, the training aspect. So when I first got into it, I was literally sitting in the living room with my mom, bro. Like, all right, I'm gonna go through this word track with you that because they gave me a script and let's go through it. And she'll stop. Oh, you moving too fast. You talking too fast. Slow down. You remember you're talking to people who's 75. They can't hear you. They can't
that's
understand
great.
you. Start over. Right. So I did that for like 2 weeks straight. And then it was a salary plus commission kind of job. So I think I made like $2,400 a month salary, and then the most you can make is like 15 grand in commissions. So like my
Nice.
very first month, I think I did like 3,000 in commissions. Then the next month I did 10 grand. I was like, oh,
Wow.
this is pretty cool. Okay, cool. Then the next month I did 10 grand again. And then I had my biggest month. I issued 76,000 in annual premium. I think I made like 30 grand that month. And I was okay, it's some money in this, and it's something I'm missing. So the end of July, I decided to go into the independent side with the company. And it was a crazy experience, dude. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I ended up deciding to go full-time broker. That's when I ran into David. And dude, my very first month as a broker, I struggled because I didn't know how to, like you said, get people on the phone and keep them on the phone. I was used to live transfers. And so I think my very first month as a broker, I spent like probably 800 bucks on leads. I didn't understand leads. I didn't understand none of that stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Probably, probably made like 5 grand. And I reached out to David. I never forget this. I was like, hey man, I need to make some more money. Like, I know I can close. Like, he was like, just buy 75 leads a week. And I bought 75 leads. I spent my last $1,500 and I
Mhm.
wrote 25K that week. And dude, I kid you not, from January 2025 to April 2025, I deposited $115,000.
From January to April?
Yep, 115,
Wow.
bro. And at
Wow.
that
I
point,
believe it.
it was easy for me, bro. Like, it's so crazy. I got my very first it's somewhere here. I remember I printed out my bank statements and I highlighted all the commissions.
Wow. How much do you have to how much did you have to spend to do that?
So I was spending around that time, I spent like 7 grand a month.
Nice. So seven, let's just say one, two, three. So let's say four, right? So that'd be seven times four, 28.
28K.
So just basically you 4x, at least 3x your money,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more than that.
Yep.
30, 3.5x, something like that.
It's worth it. If I spend 28 grand to, make 70, I'm cool.
Psh, yeah, exactly. Dude, this is crazy because I was raised by a single mom, three brothers in a house. I remember when I was 6 years old, my middle brother and I shared a bedroom, and he was like 6 years older than me, so that wasn't cool. And then my other brother, my mom made it into the laundry room into a bedroom for him. So when he was a freshman in high school, because he was 8 years older than me, that he could have his own room. And then by the time they were, I think he was a sophomore, my other brother was in eighth grade, that we moved, to a house where we all had our own bedroom. And
Yeah.
you know, my mom only probably made 50 grand a year at best, maybe a little more as she got to her 20-year mark. But dude, to imagine being able to make the kind of money that our parents made in a year, in like a month or two, is
Yeah.
just amazing. And you said one thing that I really wanted to ask you when you're buying those leads,
Mhm.
that really is like a because I was used to live transfers as well. When I went to Senior Life Services, I didn't pay for leads, and I was given fresh leads every week, in a limited number, and I was given live transfers, and I could take basically as many as I wanted, but they were telemarketing generated leads that were from the Philippines. So there were some pros and cons, but overall, dude, I was able to write 10, $15,000 a week, quite often. And I only say that to say, like, how do you deal with rejection when you spent, 20 to $30 for a lead? What would you say to the new agent out there that they're just getting a lot of rejection?
Yeah, 100%. So I think everybody's situation is a little different, right? So, for example, me right now, I could spend $2,800, 3 grand, get 120 leads or whatever. And if I get rejected, it's like, okay, I got more leads, right? Because I got it's like I have an abundance of leads. I got 120, 130 leads. So I'm not going to press about one person because out of these 130 people, someone's going to buy. And I just believe in myself that way. But if I was a brand new agent and I had the same knowledge I had now, and all I had was $1,000, I wouldn't go spend all my money trying to buy new leads. I don't
Hmm.
think that's wise because what, $1,000 gets you how many leads? Like 40 leads?
Yeah. So you got some age leads.
Yeah, so what I would do, I mean, I would take, I would go get some four $3 leads, man, and get 200 a week to give myself more opportunities. Because that's all this game is. Like, yes, it's a numbers game, right? How many opportunities can you buy to give yourself a chance to make XYZ amount of dollars?
Yeah.
So
So
that's how I
then
think about it.
that's really good. So then that's really good. I'm really glad I asked that question because I didn't expect that answer, and I'm glad that you gave it. With that, buying those used leads, would you say that, the new agent who spends $1,000 to get 200 leads, they're gonna have to face the fact that they have to work hard every day with those leads, right? Is that kind of how that would work?
Well, so if you really, so when you think about it, let's see, if let's see, $4. It just depends on how old the lead is you get to. So if you get a
Yeah.
newer, so I think 400 that gets you 100. So you can get, yeah, you can get 200 leads, $800 if you get 30 to 45-day old leads. But if you go further than that, you can get 300 leads, 400 leads. So it's just all
Mhm.
because I feel like this. If I buy 100 leads in a week, if you go through the system that your upline gave you, that's a proven system and you see it works, out of 100 leads, let's say you close two deals and you make, yeah, you spent $400. Let's say you make 1,200, 1,300, or $1,500.
Yeah.
Well, most agents mess up. Oh, I made $1,500. Let me go pay, let me go on and pay my bills first. And then now you back in the same spot. So it's just taking that money and investing it right back into leads.
Yeah. It's like you only got to pay for it one time, and then it really pays for itself if you think
You end up
about it.
spending the same money over and over, but
You're spending the
it's all about
same money.
perspective. It's perspective.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but money is just an idea backed by confidence.
Yep.
Now, I don't expect the new agent to have that confidence when they start, but it's just green paper with dead presidents on it. It's like just like go for it, give it a shot. Because if you wanted to go start a hot dog stand on the sidewalk, that's going to cost like 3 to 5 grand for your hot dog stand.
Yep.
Food trucks are like 30 grand and higher. So this is a way better way to kind of get in the door of your own business. I mean, and I'll just say the advantage that people don't realize is that when you move down the road and you've been doing this for a couple of years,
Mhm.
I have like 10 clients a day that have a birthday. I have people that call me trying to get their daughter insurance. I got, hey, can you help me with my Medicare? Hey, I've got this retirement plan, and I'm paying taxes on it. I don't want to pay taxes anymore. That'd be an annuity.
Yep.
Um, you know, hey, my son's 35. He's running his own business and he's trying to look at retirement. You said you did something with retirement. What was it again? IUL, something like that. So there's a lot of opportunity the longer that you stay in the game, and I don't know if you've been seeing that much. Like you seem like a guy, which is really smart, those first 3 years, really working on building up your client book
Hmm.
to where one of these days, dude, you got like a ledger and this thing just like it's got all these clients in it. And one day somebody's going to want to buy that from you, and it could be millions of dollars or who knows. I've
Yeah.
seen some pretty amazing things. Like, are you going to work your existing clients much or do you end up ever doing that?
So it's so great because I will have people randomly hit me up. So like it's so funny. Yesterday, I wrote a policy yesterday, probably made like $1,400 off it. It was a deal that I wrote last year. And she called me just to update her bank information. And she was like, you know what? How much would it be for an extra, 25 to 50,000? Because, I had to bury my mom here recently and I don't want
Mm,
to, if something happens to my brother, I don't want that to fall on me. And that was an instant sale. Then I had another lady, her name is Patricia from Kentucky. She called me out the blue. So I closed four deals yesterday, and two of them was for people I sold last year. Right.
wow.
So you'll randomly get those deals, man, if you just stay in it long enough. Right. Because it's
Yeah.
so crazy. One thing I haven't mastered, and I feel like if I did, I would make way more money. It's like referrals. I don't ask for referrals. I really don't. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a good add to what I do. But it's so many ways you can make money, dude. Like, hell, I know for myself when I first got into the broker world, one of the first thing I did was write a policy on my dad and mom. And that was enough money to get me leads to not only pay the policy, it paid for itself,
Yeah.
and it's like
That's
a
awesome.
need, so
Yeah.
it's really no excuse when it come down to it. It's not an excuse. There's no reason why you can't go knock on doors. You can't go to a job because everybody need what we have. It's not like we're selling like we're not in the mall, bro, trying to clean people's shoes and sell them shoe cleaner.
Yeah.
It's something that people need, bro. So
Yeah.
just have to,
Dude,
bro.
dude, I had one of the best guys ever sell me my first pair of Kobe's, like, because he's just a great salesperson. I still have those shoes because they look great. I've worn them like 10 times, 15 times, but but dude, no, that's really good what you said. I wanted to say one thing on that. When it comes to the clients, one thing I've done that I think would be tremendously valuable for anyone who has clients would be, hey, I've got your beneficiary, Miss Jones, but I don't have the phone number for them, for an emergency contact. What would be the best emergency contact number for them?
Mhm.
And then if they're like, for emergency purposes. Now, did they know you have this? No, they don't. Do you want them to know? Yes, I do. Okay, great. So then if they want them to know, after the policy's been on the books for 9 to 12 months, I'm interested in then calling those beneficiaries because I have had family members try to cancel the policy on their family member for some weird reason because they thought the money should be going to them or they were using their family member's money, like the daughter's using her mom's card all the time. She's like, oh, no wonder I don't have any money. You're spending all this money on stuff that I don't care about. So the beneficiary emergency contact
Yeah.
is an absolute guaranteed free referral on every single sale,
Mhm.
and you can get multiple. So sometimes they'll give you like an aunt, an uncle, a brother, a cousin, a niece, a nephew instead of their primary beneficiary. Oh, great. Thank you for giving me your sister's phone number. She's the same age as you. And you want her to know, right? Yes, I do. Great. Can you let her know I'm going to be calling her today? And then also getting the number of the primary beneficiary because I had a guy call me recently. His mom had passed away. I was her agent for years. And then his wife is 48. She has kidney disease. I got her Transamerica day one. And on the app, I answered the correct answer to the question. And they still approved her for day one coverage. So,
Friends is such a
uh,
hassle, bro.
dude, I was not able to do that back when I started. I didn't even have that carrier and they didn't even have that product. So, just to give you an example of like how while on the same call that I'm helping him process his mom's claim, I sell his wife a policy. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't feel pressured, none of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And it was anyone who heard the call, they wouldn't be like, "You're a jerk. Why would you sell a man something when his mom just died?" No, dude, I offered him more peace of mind at an opportune moment, without him feeling bad about it. He actually felt better after talking to me than he did when he started talking to me. So those are just some things I did for some free referrals.
Yeah.
I should be learning from Stephanie because apparently she gets referrals probably in a different way and does
Crazy
well.
level, bro. Crazy level. Like, and
Yeah,
she was so crazy. I asked her about it, and she kind of said something. She said the same thing you said, like asking for emergency contacts, bro. So I think that's something I definitely need to do. Because one thing I used to do, I don't do it as much now. I get the beneficiary phone number and I send a group text message after the deal and let them know, like, hey, I'm your mom's or your dad's agent. If you ever have any questions or concerns, you can always give me a call. We got them this. So now you know, there's no surprises. So, oh, yep, I'm the agent, so you can reach out to me anytime.
that's amazing. Now that I have an important question because I'm still learning, still growing, still mastering things. Would you say that out of all those individuals who you've put in that group text, have you noticed any negative things happen as a result of that?
No, bro. So the worst thing I got was like, who is this? Like, what did you do? But then the dad said, hey, this is my agent. I got this taken care of today. And now you guys know. So if something happened to me, you give this guy a call, he'll take care of everything. And it's still on the books. Like these, though the policies that I've done that with, they're still on the books, bro.
There you go. See, that's the right way to do business, and it's really going to pay off. So there's some things because you've only been doing this 3 years, right?
So I was at a captive agent for 3 years. I'm going on my second year as a broker. It'll be 2 years in November. It'll be my second year as a broker.
So is that about 4 years roughly?
Close.
5? Dude,
Close.
yeah.
Two,
Things
two.
really start to turn a corner because like I did pretty good my first year, but then I just continued to get better.
Mhm.
And I think that you could do some things with your existing clients that will really start to reward you. You could literally take a week and just work as hard on your existing book as you do on your current, like your new leads,
Huh?
and do it in a way of service. And there's a book called If You're Not First, You're Last. It gives you like the perfect strategy to work your power base.
Yeah.
And when you work that power base, man, like, you know, you're really just going to get more out of what you've already invested in. And I'm only saying that because I've literally, in December, I was in the top 10 with you, I think. And I don't know how much you beat me by, but I think we were pretty close. And I only worked my existing book of business in November and December. Only.
Mm.
Only. Now, I did buy some leads in like October. I spent like 3 or 4 grand in October. But those 2 months, man, I was in the top 10. And actually I started in June last year and I was in the top 10 for the year. And I didn't start until June of last year. So there's some positives there, like I didn't spend as much as David definitely is not bragging about how much money I'm spending on leads. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't because dude, if you go back to my first year, I would have needed to be spending 2 grand a week to get to where I'm at.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I think to get to where you are, I mean, a safe bet is to get to the point where, like what you said, you're buying 100 to 150 leads a week.
Yep. And then
Because you,
sometimes it varies too, though, bro, because like this week, like I did buy 100 leads, but we got the overflow leads. So like I got them at a way cheaper cost, spent $1,500. And dude, like I don't sold like 8 policies, 9 policies this week, bro. So I think and then I've had weeks where I was okay, I'm not gonna buy no leads, I'm gonna work my old stuff and still do good. I think it's just all about that input. Now, when you work in older leagues, I don't care if it's 2 weeks old, 30, 30 days, 3 months, 6 months. You have to work them harder because every week that goes by, the intent, goes down, right? So,
yeah,
I think it's definitely doable. But you definitely want to get to a point if you're not going to be the referral guy, because you have some people all they work is referrals, and
yeah,
you've earned the right to be able to work your book, bro. That's amazing. Because I know for me, at the first company I was with, I don't have access to none of that, bro.
yeah,
And while I was there, dude, I wrote like $1 million in premium, so
yeah.
I don't have access to that. So I can't wait till I get to the point where I can say, hey, let me sit down for a week and just go through this thing. Cause I mean, that's money there, bro.
One thing I didn't do when I became independent broker was I didn't do a good job of storage. Like I didn't organize information in a way that would make it easier for me to do what I'm doing now. I've had to put dozens of hours into consolidating and organizing and who's on the do not call, who is not alive anymore, everything. And I have it all straight. But when I sit down and just hit it, man, I can barely make 10 calls and not make a sale. Like 10 contacts, like 10, I can't go through 10 to 20 names often and not make a sale, which is insane if you think about it. And it actually will spoil you to the point where you won't even want to buy new leads. I mean, because it's so easy.
Yeah, 100%. So
And I get calls every day.
how do you go about organizing your book? Because that's something I need to do. If I'm being honest, like I need to
Yeah.
organize my.
Honestly, you got to keep a deal sheet, number one. Like you got to have a sheet that has, the basic info of what they got, who their beneficiary is, what are they spending, what's their policy number. If you'll just take the time each day before you go to bed to put all the deals in that you closed on that sheet, then one day you'll go in there and there'll be hundreds of names, and eventually thousands of names. And, if you just keep working that one sheet and then back, maybe make a copy or two and save it other places every month, like every month, or maybe, I don't know, however often you want to do it, make a couple copies of it just in case something happens and you lose that sheet.
Yeah,
Because, like, once you make the sheet and you email it to yourself, you'll always have that unless Google goes down. And then at that point, you need to be worrying about food, shelter, and water because
yeah,
that's the only way Google is going to go down.
exactly.
So I'm just trying to say, like, having the book of business on Google Contacts, it'll save it on your phone. You can link it to your sheet. If someone, every time I'm on the phone, I'm like, what's your email? What's your phone number? Oh, this is your birthday. And then it notifies me, hey, Sally's having a birthday today. Call Sally a day early. Hey, I wanted to wish you happy early birthday. How's things going? What do you need? Is everything okay? No, I mean, honestly, I just wanted to check on you. Do you have By the way, you called me at the perfect time because I actually want more insurance. Like that happened like 2 days ago. And I even straightened out her stuff too. Like she had three different policies with three different companies and she was overpaying.
Yep.
I got her into a day one coverage. I got her more coverage and now I have all of her policies now. Here's one thing. I got to say one more thing and I'll leave this alone. I sold a policy to her like in 2024. 6 months later, another agent sells her a policy. And then 6 months later, I sell her a third policy.
Mhm.
And then 6 months later, here we are. And I realized that I got her a good policy, but I could have got her Mutual of Omaha because that's what I got her the third time. So the first time was American Amicable, the third time was Mutual of Omaha, but someone else had gotten her Mutual of Omaha after I got her American Amicable. So now she has all three, but American Amicable was not a better price. It was like $20 in savings a month. She didn't have hardly any cash value. She didn't have it very long. It was all day one. So we ended up replacing one of the policies, and now both of the policies are with Mutual of Omaha. I canceled the American Amicable that I wrote for her. It just ended up being better for her. She got more coverage for less money. She's happier. And the reason I brought that up was I was late to the party.
Yeah.
Some other agent came in and became her agent as well. And then sometimes I'll get a call like, oh, this agent won't answer my calls anymore, or oh, my agent, I can't get a hold of him, so that's why I called you. Out of 7 policies that this one lady had the other day, what happened was there was no one talking to her but me. I had only sold her one policy. That was a cheap, low cost policy. And so that was basically a policy where we helped her cancel what she didn't need. We helped her cancel what was too expensive. And if she would have had a policy that was better than anything I could have done for her, I would have told her to keep it.
Yep.
But no, what happened was there was opportunity to improve her situation with the lower cost, with more coverage. That was day one. And I did that because all the other agents had fizzled out. They weren't in the game. I was the only one she could get a hold of. The only reason she could get a hold of me was because I mailed her a card.
Yep.
She had my card and she never like got rid of it and she had it for over a year. And for over a year she didn't choose to call me. Can't tell you how many times someone's written down my number or had a card. And then now I'm hearing from them a year, 2 years later. So these are the things that we don't hear or talk about that you can't rely on it. Like you can't say, "Oh, that's how I'm just going to wait for somebody to call me." But if you put in enough work, like what you've always talked about, you will be able to reap the benefit of that sometimes a year later, 2 years later. So I've talked too much, but I just wanted to, hit me with whatever you got, man, because I know we're not going to spend forever, but
Yeah,
you
bro.
know,
Oh, that was really good though. I feel like it's a lot of things that a lot of new agents don't know. And it's like you said, it's a lot of things people don't talk about because they don't feel like it's a need to. But everything you're saying is true, bro. And I'm gonna take some time out to organize my book now because I haven't. And I'm man enough to say I don't do that. I just be writing and going. Like, don't get me wrong, I know who I write. I got my clients and stuff, but as far as like organizing it, I I don't have that. So
I'll give you a hack. Okay, this will save you hundreds of hours. This changed the game for me. What made me finalize the book was going on to Transamerica and downloading the Excel file. You can go on there, export, have a one clean sheet, go to AmAm, do the same thing, go to any carrier.
really,
Yes, every carrier is a little different, but every carrier will give you your clients on an Excel sheet. You take them all, you put them into Claude, pay the $20 that it's going to cost you per month. It's worth way more than that. It's worth thousands of dollars. You put it on there, and then it'll tell it to merge it all and put all of the data. Like, I want all this information. I want it nice, cleanly organized. You'll have every single client you've ever sold with any carrier that you can log into on one sheet, and then you just hit Control F and you can search them by name, by policy number, by phone number. And dude, that will save you. I didn't have this until recently.
Yeah,
So, dude, it helped me finalize something that to me was just a big mess.
yeah. It's so funny because I was like, man, I was over here thinking like, man, I'm about to go in each carrier and type out each one. I was like, that's probably gonna take me forever, but that's a hack, bro. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. I have paid people to do exactly what you were just saying. And it is hard work, and they still won't get all the info that you can just get from the export
Yeah.
from that sheet. Oh man, yeah, it's a game changer. And Miss Jones might have fell off just because somebody hacked into her card and she had to get a new card or whatever, you know? So these are little cool things that I think will benefit agents down the road that they have to look forward to because don't wish you had less problems, just wish that you were better, and that's a Jim Rohn quote, right?
I love Jim,
So
bro.
yeah, him and Tony, that was Tony Robbins' mentor. A lot of people don't know that. Darren Hardy, that was, he wrote The Compound Effect. The Compound Effect is a book that's about this thick, but which that actually changed my life. It was in 2013, but that's a book I'd recommend. The Penny That Doubles, that came from him. So yeah, man, what else do you have? I know we're kind of getting close to that hour mark. Um, I'm I probably got off on some tangents, but
Good, bro. You good. Like I said, I feel like everything you said and we talking about is important information. So I would say one of the things you wanted to talk about was, how agents fail and ways, what are some ways you can't fail? I always say this, like I feel like a lot of agents fail for a couple reasons, right? Reason one, whoever spoke to them didn't set realistic expectations. I feel like that's the biggest thing because now if you look on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you see all these young kids, even older people, man, they flexing the Lambos, the watches, all the money they're making, which is cool. But from what I've been told, a year from now, you'll see all those same people, they gone. So I feel like setting like realistic expectations for agents, man, that's huge because there's not too many people come in and just start making 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month. It takes time. And you have to be willing to say, all right, I have to put in X amount of hours to get to wherever. So
yeah,
I tell everybody, you know, it doesn't have to take you long to get good. It's so funny, like you're actually in control. Like if you look on my wall, I said, like for me, focus on your input because that's all you can control, right? So you get to choose how fast you want to get good at this. And that can take you a month, that can take you a year, that can take you 2 years. But you have to be willing to not allow the emotions to get to you because it can be an emotional business, especially when you brand new. Even me, bro, I have days where it's frustrating me, but it's like, okay, I understand the game. I know if I hit the metrics that's on my wall too, $500, or if I get 5 to 7 presentations, I'm gonna get 2 deals. And every metric I try to hit leads to the next metric. So,
right.
you know, just setting realistic expectations, being willing to work, being coachable, being willing to learn, and always, John Robinson said this, stay green. Because if you stay green, you always growing. I never forget that.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Are you're direct with David, so you and I are both direct with David.
Yep, direct to
There we
David.
go. Dude, so oh man, hey, I want to tell you one thing that you did that you don't even necessarily know was the right thing to do, but inside you knew it was the right thing to do. You paid off all your credit cards and you basically said, I have all this money. I'm going to pay all these cards off. Do you mind telling anybody? I mean, you don't have to tell us, but how much did you pay off?
All right, so I think it was about 40,000, bro.
Good job, man.
I still owe 12 grand. That's the funny thing, bro.
Yeah, dude, you could have went and put that a down payment on a G-Wagon, but you didn't do that. You didn't do that.
Well, it's because, man, one of my agents, man, his name is Chris Tompkins, man. Like I met him last year, bro. And right now he's in the season where he's trying to put this together. But he's taught me so much. And one thing, before I did it, I was sitting right here thinking about all the conversations we done had about how to properly allocate money, having a chargeback account, putting money away for taxes, because all this stuff is important, man. Because my first year, I owe money and I was making a lot of money. Like, and I had this mentality, like, okay, I can make it again. And then when you get that tax bill, it's a little different. So
Yeah.
it's so many different things, bro. I was thinking about, and I was like, all right, I got this money, but I owe this, so I'm still at zero.
Hmm.
And one thing I was telling myself, and I tell anybody this: if you don't owe anybody on the personal side, you can live off however much money you want. Because when you think about the average American, how much debt people have, 75, 100, 150,000, and they only make 4 grand a month, 5 grand a month. Of course, it's gonna feel like a lot of pressure, man, because you have so many small payments that go out that add up, and it eats
Yes.
all your income. So for me, I'm at a place now where I'm ready to start building because I know I can write business. Like I left myself 4 grand and I spent two. Well, I already got 12 grand in my bank account right now already. So it's like,
Wow.
okay, once I'm fully to zero, now I can say, all right, I can put this much money towards recruiting. It only takes me 6 grand a month to live. So anything over 6 grand, I can dump that towards recruiting
Wow.
and growing and scaling. That's something David told me. He was like, all right, man, once you know your expenses, anything beyond that, put it into your business. And that may look different. That may go into more coaching. That can go into recruiting. That can go into, automations, AI. There's so many different things that you can do when you don't owe other people money, man. So for me, I
So
feel
true.
like it was just the right thing to do. And I feel like it's a lot of people right now that we see on social media, man, like they in thousands of dollars of debt, but they'll rather sell the dream and flex their money instead of taking care of what they need to take care of.
That's right. Dude, you nailed it. Like you're doing something that is sound financial education and literacy in the financial space that you will hear from the top 1% that you often don't always get to hear that advice unless you follow someone like Hard Knocks and he kind of encroaches into the space of successful people.
Yep.
But yeah, like, it's interesting because you got Grant Cardone and you got Dave Ramsey. And Grant's like, hey, I have a lot of debt, but it's in real estate. And then you got Dave Ramsey, who's like, never have debt ever, no matter what. And it's like, that's not necessarily, I believe, the correct thing. But then again, you made a wise decision of like, pay off all this debt because there's no need to owe that money. And that takes a lot of discipline.
Mhm.
Grant does believe in like, hey, what are you doing with all that money in your bank account? Like, invest it in yourself, invest it in your business. Like,
100%.
why? So you did that. Another thing you did was you cleaned your space. Like you said, you know what? I wasn't selling a lot today, but I cleaned my space, which you're doing things that are a part of a formula that you don't necessarily know are actually in a business book.
Yeah.
They are in a business book. Like one of them is when you do really well and your money just goes like this,
Mhm.
pay everything you owe. Pay it down to as close to zero as you can. You did that. And then the other thing you did was you kind of invested in your facility, your location. You got leads. You cleaned your environment. Like you did these things that I'm reinforcing successful actions that I saw you do on a plateau that's higher than a previous plateau.
Mhm.
Not saying you're plateaued. I'm just
Yeah,
saying that you're at a new height.
yeah, 100%, man. And I think too, like even with the whole, Dave Ramsey no debt, and you got Grant with debt. I'm not opposed to that, but I think it is a such thing as good debt and bad debt.
Right.
And like I said, anything on the personal side is bad debt because it's not making you any money. Dude, I'll go take out a $250,000 loan, business loan, because the business gonna take care of itself. But you know,
Yeah.
just having $1,000 worth of credit card debt. And dude, a lot of my credit card debt came from when I went independent with my previous insurance company, and like leads was like $70 a lead. And then they changed on the fly. Like you went from getting paid on issue to now it takes, a week and a half to get paid. So now I still gotta buy leads every day. So I'm spending 3, 4 grand a week. And then
Yeah.
you have a household cap. You only can make $800 per house, not
Mm.
not not per person, per house. So I can write 6 people in the house. I'm only gonna get $800.
Wow. Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like this. Everything that transpired, like, dude, I even invested 8 grand in the course. Dude, it was worthless. But like it all made me who I am. and it shifted my mind. Is last year my biggest focus was like, okay, I want to be so much better. Like, how can I be better? And like I said, Chris, man, I shout out to Chris, dude. That dude has helped me so much. And one of the my goal this year is like just getting in the best shape of my life and making a lot of money.
There you go.
Get in the best shape of my life, make a lot of money, be the best leader I can be the best son I can be, the best father I can be. All those things are important to me. So I feel like it is a formula, dude. And what's so crazy, I'm mapping everything out. My goal is I live by keeping things very simple. So even as we speak right now, in my mind, it's like, how can I make this so simple that anybody can step into this?
Absolutely, dude, 100%. And that's kind of like why we're going to have some agents that come in and it is easy for them to get started. So at least the barrier to entry, if it's going to be low, let's make it as simple and straightforward as we can. Because like, man, people honestly, they don't like what they don't understand and they can't get good at something they don't understand. So if we can make it easier for them to get in and get learning about what to do, then it's just going to eventually come down to will you do it or not? And if you're not going to do it, what is going on in your life that's preventing you from doing it?
Yeah,
Because that's the only reason why you're not going to make it.
100%, man. And then like when you think about bringing in new agents, so it was a long time. I was like, man, how do I recruit? Like, what's the perfect way to recruit? And I ran across John Whitmore, great guy. That's my dog. But
Yeah, yeah,
he basically I saw a video. He was like, you already got the skills to recruit. Because when you just treat it like a sale. When I get on the phone with a client, when you get on the phone with a client, you're trying to help them. So you're asking them the right questions. Like you're trying to take them from A to B. And it's the same thing with agents, man. And it's different for every agent. But
yeah,
also too, I think that's where you have to sit down and do some self-reflection and say, what am I willing to deal with? And what do I just don't want to deal with this at all. And then that's how you separate. All right, I want to hire this person. All right, this is a good person, but I can't work with this person.
yeah.
So when
It's
I
true.
start thinking about it like that, it's easy. Now I'm excited to recruit because at first, I was recruiting people, but I didn't know how to interview nobody, bro. I was just like reading off a piece of paper, but I don't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? I want to actually be able to connect with people and tell people how I can help them change their lives if they are willing to change their own. Because I'm just a supplement to what's already should be there, right? So one thing I tell everybody I work with, I show up for you as long as you show up for you.
That's fire. That's absolutely true, man. Like you said, setting those expectations early on, potentially even having them say, "Hey, write out what you're going to do." And then I want you to make it out to yourself. Like, what's the commitment that you're going to make to yourself? And then sign your commitment. Cause like you're 1099, I'm not your boss. Like, but I am here to help you reach your goals. So what are your goals that you want to achieve? And let's set some short range and medium and maybe some long range targets for the next 12 months. And then you sign off your commitment to yourself. So that way I can have permission. Do I have your permission to help you go for the goals that you said you wanted?
Yep,
And then they're like, you have my permission. Great. So now I have permission to keep them accountable for the things that they said that they wanted to do.
exactly, bro. And for me, it's like, all right, all I need is two things from you as an agent. Communicate with me and do what you say you're gonna do.
That's
That-
right.
That's
And
it.
that goes a long way because that's a future leader. If they'll actually do what you said, then I could say, hey, I can help you start your team
Yep,
when you're ready.
exactly.
Yeah. Isn't your sister working with you?
Yes, she is. And it's so crazy. This morning, I actually got my mom contracted because she's about to do insurance as well. So it's pretty cool, dude.
Uh,
At some point in time, I do want to have an office, bro. I want an office. And the reason why I know everybody, yes, you can work from home. That's cool. But I feel like proximity is key, man. And when you're around a bunch of people, you're like striving for the same thing, I'm talking, it's people, I can take 50 people in the office and you can outright 500 agents, dude. It's crazy.
yeah. Dude, I'm telling you what, I would, if I lived in my old hometown, like I would absolutely 100% have an office and I would just dominate a 30-mile radius, like a 60-mile radius, like 100% because it's a rural country area, like,
Mhm.
like it's and everyone gets to know real quick. And there's just not a lot of that anymore, with like Amazon
Yeah,
and like it's just I remember walking around and we would go to all these businesses in the 90s, like when I was a kid, and there was all these businesses and we would just go in and here and do this and do that and you interact and how are you doing? How's your family like? And there are people that want that. Like people still crave that. And if your family, you really are creating a legacy because like, if your family's getting involved, man, like you could literally set up the generations
yeah,
of your family in a way that they've never seen before.
100%, dude.
Same for my family. Like I haven't, I have Native American. You can't tell by looking at me. I was born in an Indian hospital. You should see some of my family. But like we were just a bunch of laborers, man. Like my grandfather picked cotton when he was a kid. He lived had a just poor, just dirt poor, worked since he could work, and they worked their asses off, when they were kids and they were beaten by their parents. Like just, like I was raised on a farm,
Yeah,
and my grandfather was a football and basketball coach. And my cousin played briefly in the NBA, but he was a D1 star. His name was Marshall Henderson. So we have some good things that, some glimmers of hope and success, but we really have an opportunity to do something that I think they couldn't even see
yes,
sometimes. They can't even be like, they can't even imagine what we're doing. And my grandfather did have one sound principle. He passed away with a lot of money saved when he didn't make much money.
yeah.
So that to me was pretty incredible. And I felt like we were rich when I was a kid
Mhm.
because my grandfather had 80 acres, four fishing ponds. Like he had a little golf cart that I could drive around. Like,
Yeah,
like
that's
we
solid.
were, that was a nice place to grow up as a kid. And he kept it really clean, like really nice. Um, I'm only saying this to say, he said to me, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you can keep.
100%, bro.
So what we're spending now eventually won't really be a big deal. I mean, it's kind of a big deal right now,
Yeah,
like a little bit, but it's not in the grand scheme of things.
yeah, 100%, man. And I'll finish off saying this. I know for myself. So my brother, he's in the process of getting his license. So it'll be my sister, me, my mom, and my baby brother. I'm the oldest out of three, right? So I remember, bro, and this is life changing for me because growing up, bro, poor kid, bro. I remember middle school, bro. I was wearing my dad hand me downs. Like first day of school, everybody got the nice outfit on. I remember my first outfit in middle school. I had on a long sleeve blue shirt, some big jeans, and my dad's work shoes. And I had on a freaking armband, bro, because basketball was a thing.
Yeah,
So I remember I didn't have a haircut, nothing. I remember it like it was yesterday. And it's so cool, man, because I know I'm in an industry where you can literally change your life over 30 days if you fully commit to it. So the biggest thing for me is you said something so real. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you can keep. One thing I would tell any agent, I don't care if you write 100 grand your first month. Don't upgrade your life. Be patient. Find out what you can live off of, and bro, save high yield savings, Roth, all that stuff, man. Because by year three, year four, you do that for 4 years, man. You'll look up, you'll be a millionaire.
it's true, man. And my last thing I'll say, man, thank you for everything you've shared. It's been tremendously valuable. I've been doing this a long time. I've always been able to spot the real ones. You're one of the real ones.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. I don't ever say stuff that's not true either. So like if something's one way, I'll say it. If it's the other way, I'll say it. The one thing you just said about like when it comes to your family, when it comes to your legacy and it comes to building that, um, man, it's really something that can become indestructible at some point. Not everything can be destructible, but
Yeah.
it can usually only be destructible from within,
Yep. 100%.
and it's one of those things where if you're trying to do the right thing and you're trying to help people, it really can pay off. There was one thing you said though before we end off. You mentioned um, you paid off, you paid off your stuff, you went to school, you were your dad's hand-me-downs. I bet you're really good at basketball,
Pretty
because
good.
you had to, because we couldn't afford to do anything else but play sports,
Yep.
because it doesn't cost that much money to play basketball in the backyard. You know, you're the oldest, I'm the youngest. I was trying to remember. I kind of lost my thought. If I think of it, I'll ask you later. But it was like, man, you know, great data overall. I think that anyone who watches this, I think if they really do what we're talking about and not upgrade their life and keep their expenses as low as they can, I've never met somebody who has done this business for 10 years hardcore and not got to the point where they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in personal income.
Yep.
Now, as we end off, do you make income claims?
What you mean?
Do you ever tell people how much you make
I
and
mean,
on an annual basis?
nah, I can't tell you that. Last year I did like 250.
There you go. But
Two.
this year, you're probably on pace for a lot more.
Yes, and I'm gonna be honest, it definitely hurt me, man. Seeing all that money leave, dude. But I feel like it's gonna be pretty dope because, like I said, the challenge is taking $4,000 and turning it to $150,000 in deposits in 90 days. So
That's really what you're doing, though. I mean, you're only taking 4 grand one time
mhm.
and turning it into 150. So you started with a 4 grand investment.
Yeah, so no, so I paid off. I only left myself $4,000 in the bank.
All right.
And as soon as I did, I went and bought. I spent $2,700 in leads.
Wow. So then you have 1,300 left.
Yep. So now I've deposited 12 grand. So I got 12 grand in the bank right now. 12
There
grand.
you go. That's amazing, man. There you go. Well, dude, great stuff. I'm gonna support your journey. If anyone's watching this, like, share, comment, subscribe, like,
Oh yeah, man. Send me your socials, man. I'm gonna put them down in the
oh
description
man.
and all that, bro. So this was great, man. It was great talking to you, man. It's really cool to be able to sit down and talk to you for like an hour, bro, because we've
Me
never
too.
really talked. And I'll be seeing you write all this business, man. And I went on your page and watched. I know you like working out. You super wise, bro. I think more people need to hear more what you got to say, man. So
You too. You too, man. So I'll support you in your journey, man, as long as I can. And I appreciate that. I'll drop that stuff to you. Thanks a ton. Tons of value here. This alone I think could make millionaires. This video right here.
yes, sir. Hey, man. Well, that's the end of the podcast. Tune in, like you said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and hey, we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Shedrick.
Yes, sir, brother. Right. Yeah.